What we're working on today is that we're going to be doing the refactoring on this application. We've started to do it a little bit. We have a little bit of a mismatch between our entities and our view models and data transfer objects. So we're making those modifications right now. Okay, so where I left off yesterday, I had something here called an account, okay? An account contain this ASP.NET user ID and an active flag that says that yes, this active account is active. And so down here under my client library, I've included active and added in my comments on it. And so I know that active is done and I know that users are done, right? I'm pretty sure that you finished users as well. Looks good so far. And then these are your view models. These all look like these got completed. Okay. If I look at the requests, since this is client side, there's no account request and there is no user request here because everything, it's only gets and then our responses are all fine. So that's fine for users. So far we've done accounts is check. We've done users is check. Now let's take a look at the tests that I've been writing for these, okay? If I look here under data access layer for external, I have a couple here written for get users asynchronous. That's pretty much it. And if you look at my test, I have two tests which I can run. Okay, they both passed. So let's add a couple more tests. If I was to look at the web API that's written here, which is here, and I want to pull out the external one under users, I'm going to move this thing because this one only has my get users, right? And this is commented. So this one here is my get discords. So let's go ahead and write the units for this, or the tests for this one. So it goes in here, and the very first thing I have is this. So when I create a Discord user, I'm going to create a context. I'm going to, oh, this is a class. We'll go ahead and just take this whole thing and move that into here. Okay, so now this one is called a get Discord users asynchronous underscore, and then we're calling it my Discord underscore external underscore data access layer. Let's just ensure that that's consistent. So you said like that. Okay. This needs to have async at the end of it. This is this one. And so what this is going to do is it's going to get your provider here, which is equal to Discord. Okay. And you want to make an account. So the first thing that you want to do right here is you want to say var users from database equals await your, and then it's going to be your data access layer dot get users Discord asynchronous, and this one passes in the account ID that I'm working with. So to manage that, it's right here. We're going to insert this new account. Right here. And now what I want to do is I want to do my account.id. If we want to do a assert.isNotNull for my users from database, and then if my users from database.count does not equal to 0, then you want to assert.fail. Otherwise, what you want to do now is you want to add a new user Discord here, which has a provider in it. unit of work.providers.get asynchronous s where my name is equal to Discord dot, like that, single or default. And this is what a provider like that. You have a username, an ID. This is the Discord ID. You have a display name, which is actually just called a avatar URL. Okay, and then I guess we don't need that. And then you're going to create this new bot for this one, which has an OAuth token, an ID token, and a user, which is already being assigned, a routeds, and an account, which you already have being assigned as well. You're going to insert this into users Discord. If this doesn't say, then what you want to do is you want to get your users again here from your account ID. If my users.count, we want to say assert dot is not null of my users. If my users.count okay, and then what you're going to say is that this thing is not null, then you want to get your count of this. If my count is equal to 1, is not equal to 1, then you want to fail. If my users any s where my s.id is equal to account.id, if that's not in there, then you want to fail. And then otherwise you want to just delete this. You want to delete the user here, users discord.delete, and it's your user. And then also you want to delete your account, unit of work.accounts.delete account. If my await unit of work.save changes, then you want to assert.fail. And that should be it. You have something here called check to make sure that this result is not null. And now what you want to do is you want to do a for each var user. In users, you want to do your if my is not check if for valid result of my user, then you want to assert dot fail. Okay, because down here, this is a DTO, and you already have this set up for a DTO, and you're just going to check to see if this is null, or my result dot, you only have that one. Keith says, I can't believe Christmas is a week away. This month is going way too fast. Yeah, man, I agree. I can't even believe that the year's almost over. It just flew by this year. I guess that's how that goes as we get older. Okay, so now when I run this test, it passed. Cool. So now we need to run the next test, which is a test method here. Oops, didn't completely pass. So why didn't it completely pass? So we'll put a breakpoint, and then we need to debug this test. Okay, here we go. We create this account. We saved it. We get our users from the database. It's not null. Now we get our provider. We create this user Discord. We insert it. It saves it. We get our accounts. We got our users, which should have 1. We do. If there's not any in there where my account ID, B03, is equal to your, but this got saved here. Where my account dot, where my user dot ID. Now let's run that. Okay, it passed. So let's rinse and repeat this for the next one, which is just called a come on. This one's just for one get Discord user, like that. So we're going to do the same exact thing, and then here we're going to create this account, and then we're going to create this new user Discord here, and this is going to be called get user asynchronous here of my user.id. So now I need to look at the data access layer for this one. You should have something here called get users for this account. Right here, get user Discord asynchronous. Like that. So it's going to pass in a user ID and then also an account ID, because you need to be registered to that account. Right here. So now if my user here, this should be just a singular one, right? Here is where you're creating it. So here, this one, you want to do a var ID equals user.id. And now you want to get your user here. It says that it can't convert this var view model equals this one. If this is null, then you want to say this if my view model.id does not equal to my account dot ID, then you want to fail it. And then here for each one of my view model, you want to just check to make sure that this thing is valid here of your view model. And then finally you want to delete this user, and you want to save these changes, and then you want to delete the account and you want to save these changes. This one is a user Discord view model or something like that, right? Which means that you're also going to check to see or and my result dot, and you should have a couple of these things. So avatar URL, so string dot is null or white space is going to not be that, and my string dot is null or white space of my result dot Discord ID, and my string dot is null or white space of my result dot username. We already got that one. So now it's going to be, and it's going to be result dot bot does not equal to null, and my result dot provider does not equal to null, and my result dot servers does not equal to null, then you're going to return true. Otherwise, you'll return false. Looks good. Now we can run it. It didn't discover the test? Why wouldn't it discover the test? Oh, it has an error. It says that this thing is a user DTO. Moment. You needed to have both of these. This one needs to be a user DTO, right? And that's just this first one. Is that my light going out? All right. See ya, Keith. Get some sleep. Gotta go add some water to the meat. I'm cooking for 39 hours so far. That's gonna be really good, man. Save me some if you could. Okay. Let's try to rebuild it now. And now we can run this test. Okay, it failed because I have another chunk in the freezer, another 7 pounds, ready to cook. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's already marinated. Oh yeah, man. That's gonna be great. Is that for Christmas? Here we go. We save this. We get our provider. We create this user. We get this user. It failed this one because it has a bot, an avatar ID. It doesn't retrieve servers. So here, if you look at this one, here, servers, you should definitely retrieve that by, I think that you call those channels at the moment. So you want to change that to be a get channels by a channel ID. So you want one like this, get channels, which is going to pass in a account ID or something like that. Well, you're saying that these number of servers are on this individual user, which are not correct. We can actually just comment this back out, because what you wanted to do was on this view model. We don't need this. And same thing on the other one. User Discord DTO. So user Twitch view model is here, and we can get rid of this one too. Now we can close everything up, look at my errors, correct this one, And then we can come back over to the test and we can run them all. Whenever we feel like eating it, thinking of doing a South bean ham at Christmas. I don't know what that is, but it sounds good. Build succeeded, all the tests passed. Okay. Back over here on my web API. If I pull back open the Discord controller, those are those two which are completed. We're now doing this Twitch controller. These ones are the same. So we can, in the tests, create, just take this, copy and paste this, and put it into Twitch. This one is a user Twitch view model now. So up here, the first one is my get users Twitch async. And actually, why don't we fix those names here? Okay. We're going to, when we create these users, we're creating the new data access layer. We're making a new account, inserting it. We're making a new user's Twitch account here. Like that. This is a Twitch. Like that. And we have a provider, which we already have, a currency, which we already have. We have our bot. We're going to insert this into users Twitch. And we're going to get these users. If you looked back here at your Discord, this should be get users Discord asynchronous. Like that. Then what you want to do is you want to make sure that that's not null. You're going to make sure that the count is 1 since you've inserted it. Then you're going to delete everything here from users Twitch and accounts. Now before we do the next one, I wanted to look at the web API here for users Discord. Yeah. And the next one here is get user Twitch asynchronous. And we create it, we create this, we create a new user Twitch here with this as a Twitch ID. We have a display name. That's it. And then we're inserting this into users Twitch. Then we're going to check to make sure that that's saved. We're going to get my user Twitch asynchronous here. Then I'm going to make sure that it's not void. We're going to make sure that we have a valid result. Going to make sure that we can delete it. Like that. And now this one is a display name. Hey there, Add-in Defender. Thank you so much for that follow. Appreciate that. If you have any questions, make sure you put them into the channel. It's a really active and supportive community here. Also, we have a Discord, discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com, and all the videos for this project since the very beginning are up at youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com. This one here is my Twitch ID, and you say and provider and a result dot. Do you have any other ones in here? Bot, provider, that's it. Like that. And now, if I was to look at my tests and rebuild. Hey there, Aiden. Welcome. Aiden Defender. Let's run these tests. Everything but this one ran. Well, that would do it. Get users switch asynchronous would do it. Let's try it again. It's probably failing here. We'll debug it. Doesn't look like it made it that far. So it's failing here. Whoops. Too many buttons. Let's try it again. Go away. I don't understand what's not found about that. So is it this that's failing? It's saying I don't have the mapper. So that means that here in the test space where you're initializing this, you want to make sure that you have your mapper running for user Twitch to user Twitch DTO. That should be running just fine. Let's try it again. It says that this is failing. Why? Twitch ID and display name. Twitch ID and display name. User ID provider bot currencies. Is it saying because not all of these have a bot? So we'll say no, because that was working. It was here. So let's do a try catch on this and just see what happens. Whoops, wrong button. Where'd my Test Explorer go? Okay. Okay, so what's the catch here? Error mapping types user Twitch to, but I have that. I have definitely, input string was not in a correct format. Property Twitch ID. So what is the problem there? If you look at your DTO, Twitch ID here is a string, and if you look at your entity, it's a string. That should fix it. And it did. Okay. So that one's fixed. And now we have our tests written for our external, which are great. And we can look back at our solution and we could say, okay, those ones are done. If we look at our account, which also I need to look at the web API for this, and we only have get account. Let me just check to see you're adding an account and then you're trying to get it by both manners. Okay. So now what we should do is we should look at we know that these are fine. We could write controller tests for these, but we don't need to at the moment. And we're only doing external. So the next one that we should do are providers. So this one is called Get Providers Asynchronous. And that's the only one we have here. So this is going to be called what? A provider DTO. And that's going to be for your name only. So to get your providers, you don't care about this account anymore. All you're doing is a var providers equals await your data access layer dot get providers, and you're going to pass in nothing. Assert is not null. Providers, and then you want to do if my assert my providers dot count is less than 2, assert dot fail. And now what you want to do is a for each var provider in providers, you want to do a if my not check for valid result of the provider, then you want to assert dot fail. And then you can just end, because there's nothing else needed on this one. Okay. And now if we look at providers here in the tests, we can run it. And that one worked fine. Okay, so now what we want to do is look at the web API again on the controllers. The first one here was account. We want to make sure that our accounts are actually no allie.chat. And the next one here was users, no allie.chat, users there. User Discord, users, no allie.chat, no allie.chat, users, users. And then here, providers, we should have providers. Wonderful. All that looks great. And I'm pretty positive, since we're only doing our client side at the moment, the next one we should do is, well, if I look at my lib, we've done a bunch of these. We could do a server. We could do a stream. Let me look at a stream real quick here. So that's in my entities. Like this. I'm going to move this over here. So now I can look at my stream DTO. And remember, this is external. So all we have here is a name, an account ID, a URL, whether it has currencies. We'll have these two tokens here. And no route, no command sets, nothing else. And if you look at your stream view model, account name URL has a collection of these routes, and that's it. And so now if you look at your request here for stream, you have a create request, which takes a name, an account. I don't think your stream has a URL. We don't pass in the tokens there for this create request. It's just that. And then for our update request, we just have this ID name, these things, and that's it. This one we'll do a public bool reset OAuth token. TCP socket, and once more here for WebSocket. And now if you look at your responses for stream view model is all that's being sent, okay? You need to make sure that here you are being consistent. Since this is your third-party library, we need to make sure that we have in here a base, a stream, data transfer object. This is going to be called the name of the stream. Account the stream is registered to. Flag for if the stream has currency events. Flag for if the stream has command events. Flag for if the stream has game events. OAuth token for TCP socket connections. OAuth token for WebSocket connections. Now we need to rinse and repeat that. So let me pull this here and we'll look at my live view models here for stream and also for user. Because I could say that this is a stream view model. Okay, and then we need to bring in my comments here. Remember, there is no URL. Hey there, Lamron Savage. I gotta ask why everyone calls chatbots when there are a million out there. Well, this is a RSS routing project, and then the chatbot is just one use case. And what this is it's a cloud-based application that will manage multiple bots from multiple RSS feeds and allow you to send messages across the pipeline to them, and then it opens it up as a WebSocket, TCP socket, or Signal R hub. So it's kind of set up as a backend as a model. Backend as a service model, simply to meet the demand that you're talking about. So this should really alleviate a lot of the stress on a lot of as the way I see it is that it can help with the bot creations out there so that we don't have to keep redoing the same things over and over again. .NET for a cloud project. Yep, this is ASP.NET MVC 4 for the front end, and then we're using Razor and Bootstrap and Smart Admin for the template. And then for the back, I'm using ASP.NET Web API. I have an internal and an external one. It would help if you pay attention to what you're doing here. And then also you need to bring in these comments here. And so I'm putting comments and everything because I have Swagger for my documentation. And Swagger can easily, it just integrates my comments. So these here are routes assigned to the stream. Okay, done there. We have to look at our requests now for server, because we should have something here called a server Discord create request. OAuth token from Discord for the registered server user. Okay, this is the refresh token from Discord for the registered server user. And this here would be channels in the Discord server. Now, if you look at this, this really is a channel, right? Or are you referring to your... Well, let's go ahead and chunk this one here. Same thing here with this refresh token. And then our channels in the Discord. Okay, that one's done. Here you go, stream create request. These were the ones that I thought you were doing. How is that going to scale? We have it set up for n-tier scaling. So we're using Elasticache for our ephemeral data, and that's like a memcache server with Amazon. We're using the SQL server that it's RDS with Amazon Web Services. That's what we're using for the perennial storage, right? And so because it's n-tier, it just has lots of polls that are running through each instance of the app that hits the database and then takes it, applies ephemeral logic to it, puts it into Elasticache. And so that way I can just have it as the load goes up, it'll just continue to add more and add less. And then each one of the bots maintains a certain number of the connections to it. So that way you almost end up with like, where there's only one of them essentially, where like, okay, so if I'm Lyric and I have 40,000 people watching, I may end up just in one iteration of that bot, which is managing those channels. But then that's going to be using Elasticache to send that across the pipe to all the different layers. Did that make any sense? Well, somehow you did stream DTO, stream view, so these are the ones that are wrong. This is the name of the stream, and this is the account the stream is registered to. Man, I would not have picked .NET for this. I'm sorry to hear that. With the authorization, the amount of authorization that I'm using the Katana pipeline and Identity Server 3 is really nice. And also for the backend, any time that I do any sort of services where I'm running in like a console application, I really like using .NET. In terms of the front end for MVC, that could have been done in anything, any of the Java stack framework, any of the Java scripts frameworks that are out there. Okay, so account the stream is registered to is fine. And then we have this flag, 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 and that's it. And then the next one here is this update request, which is this a stream create request. Did you change these to the right ones? Yeah, okay. A stream update request. And this is going to be the ID of the unique ID of the stream to update. Name of the stream. And then we can just go ahead and say has currency, has games. Flag for if the OAuth token for the TCP socket connections should be reset. And we'll do that same thing one more here. Okay. That looks pretty good. We can get rid of these. Okay. That looks pretty good. And then finally our responses down here are stream response, which is a stream response from the web API allie.chat. So this is going to be called a stream view model. And then this one here is a streams response from the allie.chat web API. And this is a streams data transfer objects. Okay. That looks pretty good there. So now we have to make sure that we have this available as a test, and then also in the web API and the data access layer. So this is a stream DTO. Okay. And so now what I want to look at is in the data access layer, which is under my modules allie.chat data access layer here for service. I should be able to uncomment streams here. So we have one called get streams, which is going to pass in an account ID. Get streams asynchronous is passing in this user ID. This is wrong. Get stream here should be a stream ID and also an account ID. Create stream, update stream, and finally delete stream. And these are all the ones that we're exposing to the user. So let me move this now. And the next one we want is these. So this is called get streams. And this one has an account ID, so that's fine. And it's passing DTOs, so that's fine. Just for consistency's sake. Okay. This one here is a get a stream, and it needs to also include a what? Account ID, like that. So here we're going to get these. So this one is a unit of work streams get asynchronous by ID. If my entity.account ID is equal to account ID, then you want to do this. If it does not equal to null and, then you want to do that. And you'll map this over to a var stream view model. And you want to do this as a routes equals these routes. Like that. You can say that you want to get this from your stream ID here, like that. Which means that this one here is my where my stream ID is equal to stream ID. And then for consistency's sake here, and the reason for this is that way you can add in the additional properties if you need to. Okay, which means that now here under, you were doing get stream, there. Create stream, you're going to get your account ID good, right? You don't have a URL. This time you have a entity dot account ID is going to map. You'll just insert it, and then you're going to save this here as a var view model equals, and then you're going to do a view model dot routes equals await your get routes asynchronous of your stream ID. like that. Now here, couldn't you just do like a return get stream asynchronous of your entity.id and then your account ID good? Like that. And then finally update stream. Same thing here, return await get stream, passing in your entity.id and your hold on. Like that. And then finally your delete, where you're going to first delete all the routes, then you'll delete the stream, and then you'll save changes. So you're pretty happy with all of this. This needs to be an account ID in here, right? And my entity.account ID is equal to account ID, right? Let's check this one here. If my entity.account ID is equal to my request.account ID, oh, you don't even have that one in there. Like that. You're passing in an account ID here, which is nice. Like that. Okay, and then we can add in these account IDs on the interface. And that looks pretty good. So now if I was to rebuild this, oh wait, it rebuilt with no errors? Interesting, okay. So now what we can do is we can write our tests here. So if I looked at the, well, we want this one, right? Because we need to make sure that we include these. And then if I look at my stream in the web API, which is external, this is the one we're working with. So let's move it out now because we can say that it's been modified. We can uncomment everything. We want to remove these at the top that we don't need, which is fine. We can get rid of that. There's no route prefix on this. This thing is authorized. Streams controller. This is your get streams. Now the first one here is get streams and requires your account number. So you're going to var account equals await your data access layer dot get account asynchronous of your user dot identity dot get user ID. If my account does not equal to null, then you want to get the stream here, like that, with your account.id. Wonderful. The next one here was get stream. Okay, same deal. You're going to pass in this thing. If my var account equals await your data access layer dot get account of your user dot identity dot get user ID. If my account does not equal to null, and that's fine, then you're going to try to parse out this GUID. Like that. And you need to bring also in your account ID. So this is going to be your account.id, like that one. This one here is called stream, create stream, which also needs to pass in a account ID because it doesn't include one there. So right here, var account equals await your data access layer dot get account of your user dot identity dot get user ID. If my account is not equal to null, then you want to do this whole thing. And then finally, we have an update right here. If my if my account does not equal to null again, okay. And then finally, this one here, which is delete stream asynchronous. Did you bring in on this one all of your comments on this? You did. So we can use this as a guide. If var account equals await my data access layer dot get account, and we want to get my user dot identity dot get user ID. If this is account does not equal to null, and this GUID and all that stuff, then we want to get our stream here of the account.id. Okay, let's go make sure real quick that all of these are working the way that we want. So here, that was get streams. This is get stream with this account ID. That's an account for it. And my it already includes account there, right? Yeah, that looks fine. Okay. So then back here, we can add in the comments that we need to. So this is the controller actions for streams. This one here is my constructor for streams controller. And we're going to say that this is my data access layer dependency, like that. Retrieves the streams available to the user. And we're going to say a streams response of stream data transfer objects. This next one here is retrieves a stream available to the authorized user. And it's going to pass in the stream ID of the requested stream to retrieve. And we're going to return a stream response of stream view model. Okay. Same thing here. Creates a stream registered to the authorized user. And we're going to pass in this request, which is going to be a stream create request. And it's going to return a stream response of stream view model. This one here is updates a stream registered to the authorized user. And we need to pass in a request here, which is going to be called a stream update request. And we're going to return a stream response of stream view model, right? And then finally, we have our final one here, which is a deletes a stream registered to the authorized user. And all we're going to do is this stream ID to delete, and this will be returns a stream response with response code indicating success or failure. Okay. Now, one thing that I wanted to do was here, when you're deleting the stream, what you're actually doing is setting these things to active. So you have route here, and a route's going to have something on it called a public bool is active, which will be a equal to true for everybody. So now that's on route. So here under your library, you have route. You need to have something here called active. Same thing on your view model. So now for each one of these, what you want to do is you want to say your s.active equals false. And then here you want to say your entity.routes equals false. Nope. And now what you are going to set each one of those there, and then you can do a unit of work dot routes dot update your s. Unit of work dot update dot streams dot update your entity here. Right? Which means that here when you're getting these, you want to get only these where, and we can say like a bool question mark include active, inactive equals false. Okay. So now this is your entities is actually a I enumerable of type stream. Call this entities. Set that to null. And now what we do is if my include inactive dot has value and include active dot value is true, then what you want to do is entities dot unit of work equals this whole thing. Else you want to do entities equals this whole thing and s.active. And then you're going to map them all out. So here, when you look at stream here, you need to make sure that this thing also has another one on here called a bool active. This is called active, and this is going to say flag for if the stream is currently active. And let's move this thing up a little higher above these tokens. Like that. And then let's rinse and repeat that down here in stream view model. Okay. Like that. And if you looked in the entity for stream, active needs to be true as a default value. Same thing happens here. That's it. Now it says that my get streams GUID is all screwed up because it needs to include this optional variable. And now if you were to look at your errors, you don't have any, we'll rebuild it. Okay. If I was to take a quick peek at my external web API and the properties, I should be able to see it's starting the correct page for Swagger. Moment. You should be able to change here and build. XML documentation file. Because I think now we should be able to see that. Well, let's find out. So we'll run it. It's going to fail because we don't have our database updated. It's starting. Could not load token. So is it not starting the identity server? It's starting the external one. It's starting the identity server. It's starting the web application. So it says that this thing is not able to locate what? System identity model tokens JWT. Should be working right here. Hey there, Serializer. Welcome. How are you doing? It's a little funny what's happening, why it wouldn't launch that and give me a valid token. Just a second. Let me open this here. We'll get rid of the bin in the OBJ file. And then we can rebuild it, and then I'll try running it again. If not, I think we'll have to try to update that library. Let me look real quick here at my map. As soon as it finishes building here. Just came home from a walk in the woods with the dog. That sounds fun. Sounds fun. If I look here at my managed NuGet packages, this is called identity server what? Look at installed. Identity model. .16. So let's look at the managed NuGet packages for solution here. Identity is running 2.16. So I mean, that's why that's failing. But these things, it needs to have a higher it's going to tell me that it's going to fail because why? Consolidate. Access token validation. This one. Latest stable is 2.15, which does mean that this identity model needs to all get dropped to 1.131. At the top, I haven't used Consolidate. Let's take a look at that. Not really sure what it's trying to tell me. Let's try running it again though. Okay, it's launching. Still says could not load it. So interesting. It's missing some references here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run an update, let it reinstall everything, and I'm going to take a short break. I'll be back here in like 13, 14 minutes. I'll put it up on the clock. If you have any questions, make sure you put them into the channel during this time. And then also make sure you watch these videos from the very first one to where we're currently at. That's up at youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com. Remember, we're doing our final refactor right now. So we're creating our external web API so that we're able to hit with tokens and then retrieve the correct information as opposed to passing in something like an account ID. So thanks for staying with me. We'll be back here in just a little bit. See you in a little bit.